with FHI 360 on a USAID project. Let me hand over to my mentor and senior in design thinking, Eugene, to introduce himself.
Emily. All right. Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Eugene Elueke, and I'm a growth catalyst, or what you may call a growth advisor for SMEs, and I work with Growth Africa. And I'm an avid lover and
Practitioner.
devotee of design thinking. Yes, I really love to use it. Yes, so it's a great pleasure to have all of you here. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you. So before we get started, I was trying to do a quick poll, but you can just type in the chat or give me a thumbs up or a reaction. How many of us know and already practice design thinking to a certain degree, any level, beginner? You just use some elements of it in your work, or you just heard or know about one or two elements. You can just type in the chat, or you can just react with a thumbs up or wave. Just give me a reaction if you've heard of design thinking, if you know a little bit about it, or if you've experienced it in one way or another. You're also welcome to unmute yourself and just share. Okay, I see one thumbs up. All right.
Yeah, Emily? Hello, Emily? Emily? Okay. Okay. I don't know if we. Okay. Okay. Good.
Forgive me, power just went out, so I had to quickly connect. So forgive me. But quickly today, we want to share with you a simple framework that you can use in your business to create exceptional service. We're going to be digging a little bit deeper and can design an exceptional service for thinking approach. We'll talk about design thinking, what's to apply it in our work. My connection is a bit unstable, so please let me know if you are struggling to hear me at any point. All right. So what is design thinking? We'll start there in trying to understand what design thinking is. And quite simply, design thinking is finding solutions to problems. I like to see design thinking as or we think of a situation and we are trying to innovate around it, trying to improve, trying to build, trying to make something better. And then we forget who we are making it better for. And I don't know how many of you have seen a product on the shelf that is supposed to be doing something, and you take the product off the shelf, and this product is supposed to help you open a tin of milk, or the product is supposed to help you clean a board easier, but you can't even figure out how to use the product or how to use the design, or it's so complicated that you can't immediately understand how you're supposed to use it. So that's how I like to think about design thinking. And whenever I think about design thinking, this is what comes to mind. It's one of the most basic, it's the one thing that I always think of when I think of design thinking. Now, I don't know how many of us have experienced this before, but way back when, there's actually a stage before this that I couldn't find a picture for. But if you remember, when you want to buy water, I remember I had a little plastic cup. So there were these ladies who had the calabash, the big calabash, the one that they used to sell asana now. They used to sell asana now. But the big calabash with the ice cubes in it, you give the coin, you pay, and then they will scoop with the calabash, the small calabash, and pour it in your plastic cup, and then you drink. And then, of course, we understood that how do you take this to work, or how do you move around with this type of buying water like this? More so, you don't know where the water is coming from. It's not safe. And so we started selling pure water in the rubber bag. And if you were like me, you buy the, so this is the you create a face on the bag, and then you tear a little rip, and then you be pouring it on your friends. So that was how it all began. But then, of course, we got to a stage where our taste evolved, where holding this clear rubber bag and taking it to work and putting it on your desk as a CEO, was not very appealing. And so we had pure water. And there was a time when pure water was fancy. There was a time when you would serve pure water. When I say pure water, I mean sachet water. There was a time when you would serve sachet water on a tray in a meeting. If you remember, I can't remember, standard or something, me feel you. I mean, this was fancy, right? And then again, our taste evolved. We got to understand that, okay, it's not always healthy to put it in a sachet water. And then we started having bottled water. And now we use bottled water. And even with bottled water, now some people, we have glass bottles. Now, even with glass bottles, now you understand that people want to be innovative. People feel that it's not environmentally friendly to use a bottle of water. So now we are encouraging people to use refillable bottles, or to use a dispenser, so that you're not throwing plastic away, because plastic isn't safe and plastic isn't healthy. Now, how did we get from calabash to sachet water to bottled water to glass bottles and then to dispensers? This entire process is a process of design thinking. It might not have gone through I don't want to call it traditional design thinking process, because we believe that design thinking is iterative, but it didn't go through ideation and it didn't go through step by step. But this is really what design thinking is. It means that this is the situation that we find ourselves. How do we improve? How do we innovate to improve how we experience this one particular thing? And this is the result. I'll give another one very quickly and then I'll hop on. The one on the left is how I used to open my tin of milk in secondary school. We didn't even have the bottle, the tin opener at the time. The tin opener on top. I don't know how many of you know this one. The tin opener on top. That's how I used to. We didn't have this one, so we used to have fork. You use your fork. There was a way that you bend one part of the fork and then you use it to open your tin of milk. And then because you don't want it to ferment, after you open it, then you take tissue and then you squeeze the tissue and then you shove it inside the hole so that air doesn't get into the tin, so that it doesn't ferment. So that is how we have all been using our milk from the beginning of time. And then now, peak milk apps and decide, well, so many people are complaining that if you don't have this tin opener, you can't open your milk. It's very difficult. After all these years of producing tin milk, why haven't we innovated how to open a tin of milk? And so now we have this easy open type of milk, which I hate, because the hole is so big that you end up pouring half of the tin in your Milo. But again, this is basically what design thinking is. And the perception that something has to be bad or something has to be wrong for you to innovate or for you to apply design thinking is wrong. Because design thinking works on the principle that it can be improved. It doesn't mean that it's bad, but it can be improved for the human that is using or experiencing to have a better or more improved service. So again, I was saying that I didn't want to say what we call a traditional design thinking process, but we do have, for those of you that would like to have a system or a flow that makes it easy for you to practice design thinking, we do have some recommended steps that you can follow in the design thinking process. And it begins with understanding the problem or the challenge or the situation that you're trying to improve or trying to innovate for. And then once you understand the problem, once you understand who the problem is affecting, the primary people it's affecting and the secondary people that it's affecting, the environment within which the problem exists, the various external and internal factors that are affecting the problem, then you can begin to empathize. And empathize basically says, put yourself in the position of the person who is experiencing the problem. That way, you are not creating solutions that don't actually solve a problem, but they only solve a problem in your head. Once you do that, then now you can define the problem. You can define the problem within the environment that it exists and for the people that are experiencing the problem. And then you ideate. But for most of us, we begin to think of ideas to solve a problem before we even began to fully understand the problem. And that's the beauty of the design thinking. If for nothing at all, design thinking will get you to a point where you understand the problem inside out, and it will give you the opportunity to go back to the drawing board after you've designed a solution and the solution is not working. It will say you can go back and see what you missed when you were trying to understand the problem. So once you've understood, you've empathized, you've defined, you've ideated, come up with a couple of ideas, then you prototype, you sample, you create a low, I don't want to use the word low fidelity, you sample the solution that you are saying will work, and then you test it. Does it work? Does it work 50%? How do you improve the 50% so that it's a better service or it's a better experience? I'm sorry, let me just, okay. How do you improve upon what you've already built? You test it and then you go back to the drawing board. So now you've come up with your ideal milk solution, easy open solution. And you say, okay, well, people are enjoying the fact that they can open this tin of milk easier, but they are saying that it pours too much milk at a go. So can we create two levels of the easy open? So there's one step that gives you a very small hole, and if you want to pour more, then you open the second step or the second layer. So there's two layers to opening the tin of milk, basically. So this is the design thinking process. We don't have a lot of time, so I'm just running through the design thinking process so we can go into service design, which is what we are doing today. What is unique about the design thinking process? And then come back to prototype and then go back to a point and end at another. It allows you to refine your idea. It is human-centered, as I explained. It allows you to complete. They allow. Design thinking will force you to move, to take action, to test, to try, to sample, to get someone to sit down and experience it and give you feedback. It is biased towards action. But design thinking, there's nothing like it works on paper. It allows you to empathize, understand completely, and it gives you the opportunity to collaborate with others. And the thing that I love the most, there are a lot of systems that are very systematic in its approach, which means that it's A, B, C, D, and if you skip a step, you will even have peers that will come back and invalidate what you have developed because you have skipped a step. And you also have some approaches that need you to be 100% clear about the problem before you can begin to find a solution. But design thinking says that we don't fully have the picture. We understand the problem to this degree, but design thinking allows you to move from the point that you understand to a point where you have innovated, following the process that I just walked everyone through. We'll pause for questions at the end. So please, as we go through, you're welcome to type your questions in the chat. But I'd like to hand over to Eugene now to take us through the meat of today's session, which is service design. Eugene, over to you.
All right. Thank you very much, Emily. Okay, so I'll build on what Emily just explained to explain service design. Service design is an emerging concept, and it is driven mainly by human needs. The fact that people no longer just buy a phone. When they buy a phone, they want to experience something greater than just making a call or receiving a call or checking their emails. They want to feel connected, part of a bigger community, where on any day, any time, if there's something wrong, it is just at the tap of a button, they can get help, okay? And it's not just the phone. There are so many other things which have encountered much more complex situation of what exactly do our customers want now? What new thing are they looking for? How do we keep them so happy that they are willing to recommend our products and services to other people? How do we keep our customers not frustrated that they do not have to call in all the time to our customer service? Okay. And that has fueled the development or the growth of the concept of service design. So the best way I would like to explain service design is to pick some of the leading definitions that have come up. And I would, Emily, kindly go by yes. Service design is developing the environments, the tools, and the processes that help employees deliver superior service in a way that is proprietary to the brand. So straight away, service design is not just customer service. Right from when you even start thinking of your suppliers, you must think of the customer at the middle and how you want to set up your service for them. Service design aims to ensure service interfaces are useful, usable, and desirable from the client point of view. So if you're an app developer, it's not about API and interfaces and JavaScript and all of that. You must first look at the user interface and the user experience from the customer's point of view. How does the customer feel when he goes on your app? What is the first thing he sees? Does it enable him to meet his need? All right. And effective, efficient, and distinctive from the supplier's point of view. So first from the customer's point of view before your view. Service design is a holistic way for a business to gain a comprehensive, empathetic understanding of customers' needs. And the last one is the most important aspect to note are that it involves developing the environment, the tools, and processes for delivering superior service in a brand-specific way. So regardless of the business or the industry you find yourself in, you have a brand. And your service should be such that customers have no confusion at all in their mind when they need something and they know they can get it. Okay. Now, the principles of service design is basically five. Number one is user-centered. And that is a core key factor of design thinking, a user-centered approach to innovation. You need to prioritize the customer's perspective before you bring in your designers or whoever is in the team's perspective. Number two, co-creative. It is rare to find SME leaders or business leaders calling in their customer to say, hey, how would you like to be served? But service design says that if you really want to develop exceptional customer service, regardless of your industry, you should think of co-creating that whole service with your customers. Sequencing, visualizing the service as a series of interconnected actions. I earlier on used the phone. When you are a manufacturer of a phone, you need to think of the one who is providing the after sales service. You need to think of who is providing the repair services, who is providing the SIM card services and all of that. Because the maximum experience that the one who has bought from your phone will have will one way or the other be dependent on all these other people. All right. Then the third one is evidencing. There are some services or some businesses which is intangible. For example, you go in for a consultancy service or sometimes you may have a product, but there are some components of your service, they are intangible. As in service design, you need to start thinking of how you can make these tangible because it connects to the customer experience. So for example, if I offer a consulting service to you and I'm done, how do I make sure that you get that final document that lets you want to say you want to keep it? You want to put it in a place because you know the service you've received is exceptional. Then the last one is holistic. Consider the complete service environment, not just your product or your service, or just when the person buys the item and leaves. If you really want to deliver exceptional service, you need to look at it from a very holistic point of view. Okay, and we'll get to understand it as we move on. Yes, please, let's go on. Yeah. So today, what we've tried to do is to put all of this together into a very simple framework that even away from this session, you can easily remember. And we call it the MMMV framework. And MMMV is simply movement, memories, and value. All right, Emily, please move on. And I'm going to quickly explain this MMMV. Now, in design thinking, there are so many tools available to us to use. Sometimes we kind of get a bit confused about which tool should we use. If you are using the triple MV framework, the first one is the movement. Please go back. The first one is the movement. The movement is all about understanding the customer's journey. All right. What steps does the customer go through to move from need to relief to satisfaction to loyalty. Very, very important. And this covers all the touch points. If you see the screen, I've provided an example there of Lizzie trying to buy a dress in a dress shop. You will notice that from the very point that Lizzie is aware that she needs a dress, which was to the last point that she purchased the dress, she went through a number of positive and negative experiences. Our job as business leaders or business owners or as innovators is to understand those positive and negative moments and streamline the processes to enhance the whole service experience. Now, we call it movement because with that word, you begin to imagine, what does my customer go through to come to my shop to buy? What does my customer go through to attend my lesson? I'm beginning to think of the processes you go through to just sign on to this session to be part of it. All right. We call it the movement. Yes, please move on to the next one. The next point is moments. Moments are the critical touch point in a customer's journey. That moment when I enter your restaurant, am I welcomed with hot, steamy environment, or there's a welcoming AC to make me relax? That is a moment that I could carry on for a long time. Another moment could be that very moment I call your office to inquire whether you can solve my problem. When the person on the other side picks up the phone, what happens? That is a moment in my journey as your potential customer, which could mar or actually make better my experience. All right. So moments are so critical, and every business leader or innovator or business owner must think about it. As you think of your customer's journey, the movements on the steps they go through, you need to think of those specific moments where they could either drop off or they could continue the journey. Think of that moment that you downloaded an app that you wanted to use. And at the second turn, you felt, what is this? You just get up, uninstall the app, and you move on with your life. It was at that moment that the business was lost. But think of the other moment where you just continued, you finished, and you were happy to quickly go on to use it. All right, good. Now, moments can greatly affect how customers perceive a service. They can be positive or negative, as I mentioned, and those are the times that you could actually, as a business, make a big impression on your customers. Okay, so that takes us to the next M in their framework, which is memories. Emily, are you back on?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay,
so
yes,
memories. Let's pause. Yes, let's ask everyone on the call now. Can you tell us the best memory you've had with a best service provider? It can be MTN dashing you credits on your birthday, or you went to a restaurant and somehow the staff found out it was your birthday and you got free food or you got free cake. Can anyone share with us a memory of their best experience? Product, it could be a product, it could be a service, it could be anything really. I'll pause here and see if anyone has anything to share. I remember my husband came home one day and I think I saw someone unmuting themselves. You can go ahead and share. But I remember he came and told me he had the best haircut in the whole world. That was the first time he had a haircut, and after the haircut, they gave him a shampoo. They shampooed, they conditioned, they gave him some cologne, they powdered his neck. I mean, all sorts of things. And he wouldn't stop talking about it. Akushika, I saw that you unmuted yourself. Did you want to share?
Oh, hello. Yeah. Well, in terms of memory, you mentioned the barbering, and then it came to mind when I went to a barbering salon after barbering. They gave me a good massage on my neck. It was such a relief. I really enjoyed it. And then when you talk about MTN has once given me credit on my birthday. And in fact, I'm looking forward for a cake this year.
Yes, I've seen that they give cake to some people.
Yes, they've been giving cake. They've been giving cake to people, but I received them. I've been like, not know how long. So this year, I'm throwing a challenge. MTN, you have to locate me on my birthday with a beautiful cake.
Okay. If there's anyone from MTN here, please take notes. But that's it about memories. I think that summarized memories. It consistently evokes pleasant memories, and it connects you in an emotional way to the service that you are experiencing. And then the last one that we have in our framework is values. And I think for value, I think value transcends all of the ones that we've talked about, and it summarizes everything that we've said, right? Because the value means that outside of the money that we have paid, we feel like this service that we have experienced has added and contributed in one way or another to our lives feeling improved. Now, it's so interesting when you offer value in a service design, because the value makes it such that the customer not only becomes loyal, but they become advocates for your brand. Because when they are, if you listen to anyone who has had an excellent service design experience, they don't talk about the service, they talk about the value. Right. So they tell you, so for example, Akushika, she just talked about the massage. The massage is the added value because she went there for a haircut. So if you notice anyone who went to a restaurant, for example, and they got something for free, or Akushika can't say that MTN has never messed her up by giving her, bad network or bad service. But all of a sudden, that extra value of getting credits on her birthday, it almost seems like all of the calls that she didn't get because of bad network seems to have been forgotten. And that's the power of when you offer value as part of an excellent service delivery. All right, Eugene, I'll just summarize and say that value capture, it goes alongside the creation and, sorry, Eugene, yes, why don't we go ahead? I think I've captured everything under value, so we can go ahead.
Yeah, just to add a bit more on the value, okay? Now, the last part of the value that business owners are, we want to help you understand is that if you deliver exceptional experiences, you should find a way to take advantage of it to capture great value from your customers. And I like to use the example of buying a Patek Philippe or buying a Lamborghini or when you go to a really expensive restaurant on your date. Just think of the bragging rights you have. You begin to talk about the restaurant and you say, look, it's such a marvelous experience. And can you imagine how much I paid? And even the money I paid, I don't think I should even be paying more. What is happening? You feel proud to have paid an arm and a leg for a service experience that was really worth it. You get it? You feel incredibly proud about how much you paid. And what has happened? For the business owner, they've been able to capture that great value from you. They've been able to get as much as they can from you. What does it mean for you as a business owner? If you find a way to create those exceptional moments, you kind of have earned a license to charge premium fees for your exceptional service, because you know very well that by the great experience and value you have delivered, customers will be happy to pay for it. There's actually no point going through all lengths to deliver great exceptional service, and yet you cannot capture a commensurate value from your customers. There, the business will be losing out. The key point we want to put across is this: focus on creating and delivering exceptional service so you can earn the license to capture premium value from your customers. Because at the end of the day, your customers will be happy they pay that premium value. In fact, when you deliver exceptional service and it goes for a pittance or it goes for very little money, you may lose customers. Because in the mind of the customer, oh, so I thought this was an exclusive service for people of my level. It turns out that everybody can afford it. I'm not coming here again. That could happen. So we want you to think about it and say, as much as I deliver this, how do I make my customers appreciate it so much that they are willing to pay much more for them? All right. And that's what we call the value creation, the delivery, and the capture. And that should be the ultimate goal in the triple MV framework. All right. Let's take a few minutes to look at the core elements in service design. In service design, you take a holistic approach. You think of everybody involved in here. If you're a wedding planner, you cannot ignore the caterer. If you are a photographer, you cannot ignore the guy who has to bring the ring at that right moment in the wedding, because it is that moment that you can take your great shot. Okay, so if you're a service, if you are designing a service, you need to really think of everybody who could be involved in making your service exceptional. Because if you're a photographer for a wedding, that moment when you capture, you may kiss the bride, is going to be a photo or a memory that the bride and the groom will always cherish. And they will always say, oh, this photographer is so good. But you are so good because somebody worked hard to make sure that moment was rightly available for you. And what does that mean? In designing your service, you need to think of the customer. You need to think of your service providers. You need to think of other stakeholders. If you run a shop, you cannot ignore the influence or impact of the district or municipal authorities on your service. You need to think of the service designers, the other people who are designing your billboard or whatever it is. All of them could come in. Then you need to think of the touch point in the customer's journey, and the moments that come with it, and the memories that you can create for your customers. Then you need to think of the service evidence. If I walk into your shop to buy something, what do I take away with me to let me remember that I bought this pen from this shop? Is it the girls who attend to me? Is it a receipt that has a thank you on it? Or is it somebody who accompanied me to my vehicle? All these things are part of the evidence that you need to make available in the customer's journey. And then the service period, okay? When do customers say, oh, I feel satisfied? Is it when they receive your service in full, or it is in bits and pieces? The customer walks into a restaurant, finish eating, he enjoyed the meal, and then he asks, can I get my bill? And it takes 30 minutes to get the bill. For all the great effort you put into providing a wonderful meal, you have marred the experience just by not taking care of what? The back end processes that would generate the bill on time. And this is the way, as a business owner, you should think of that whole service. All right? Great. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is service design tools. And this is where we come back to the design thinking. Earlier on, I said service design is an emerging concept, but the truth is that it is based on design thinking. Service design is design thinking. And so we use the very same tool. The starting point for understanding how to use the tools in your service design is to have a customer-centric mindset. Number one, how well do you know your customer? How well are you emotionally connected with your customer? How well do you understand their movement, their journey, from need to relief to satisfaction to loyalty? And here we choose our words carefully. The point of need, the point of relief when they know they have found a solution, the point of satisfaction when they have enjoyed your service, and the point of loyalty when they will swear by heaven and earth to say, you are the best restaurant in town. Then the last question is, what is the surprising insight you learn about your customers? For many business owners, we just serve and get our money, and we don't learn anything about our customers. Even if we observe something, our ears are not close to those moments when our customers say, oh, oh, right, oh, wonderful. We don't have any system in place to capture those moments for us to learn something about them. And that is what service design says you should do. In designing your whole service, you need to make sure your ears are right where the customer's heart is, so you can hear what they say, what they complain about, and what they jubilate over. All right. So what are these service design tools? Persona maps, which if you're a first timer, persona map is when you create a fictional profile of your typical customer. For those of you familiar with design thinking, you are very familiar with persona mapping. Journey maps. And then the other two I want to focus on is user research. Now, for a lot of us, when we want to do user research, we just do a questionnaire and we send it out. But you will not get a lot of insight. We encourage you to do user interviews. Conduct one-on-one interviews with your customers. Observe your users in their natural environment so that you can understand their behavior and pinpoint when they are looking for a solution to the need that you are trying to solve. And lastly, engage with your users while they are using your service so that you can get real-time feedback. The service blueprint is basically how you design, how you deliver the value, and it composes of front end, back end, and systems and processes that you need to do. That is something that we will look at in another design thinking session, and I'm inviting all of you even ahead of time. Now, the next thing is service prototyping. For many of us as business owners, we think of a great idea, we just go ahead and spend the money and we set it up, especially for people in retail. Remember, the whole business is based on the customer experience, and when they deliver the value to you, you deliver the value to them and they pay you for it, then you understand how far you can go with them. So you need to prototype the service and test it to be sure it works. How do you prototype the service? You could prototype the experiences and the processes. You could prototype the physical objects, the chairs. Before you spend so much money buying furniture to put in your hair salon or something, you should simulate and prototype it and see, well, my customers love this kind of chair. You can prototype the environment, the spaces, and even the architecture. Before you go out and rent a whole place, find a similar place and find out from your customer, would you love a place like this? Is this something that will help you connect with my service? You can prototype even the ecosystem and the business value. And then the last tool I want to talk about, because we have a lot of entrepreneurs on this call, is the business model canvas. That is when you want to simulate and find out, based on this value proposition I'm trying to offer, who will be my typical customers? What would they be looking out for? How do I reach out to them? What will be the cost I will incur? What kind of revenue can I make from the whole service? Will it be the best value I create? All right. And that is why we introduced to you the triple MV framework, because with that, it will help you really craft your business model in a way that delivers value, exceptional value to your customers, and help you also to capture value, premium value from your customers. All right. So, Emily, I think we can take off from here and then we can go into the breakout room. We are going to spend some few minutes in the breakout room. We have a very interesting case that we've designed for you. So Mark will move us into the breakout room. He will share the case. There are a few questions on it. What we want you to do when you go into the breakout room is to discuss the case and then the questions, and that will help you to kind of appreciate how you should think about designing your whole service so you can create and deliver exceptional value and capture premium value. So, Matt, if the breakout rooms are ready, we'll be happy for you to put us in there. When we come back, then we'll have questions and answers and then the key takeaway.
What was people's experience like? What was your experience like implementing the service design? I think most of us had the same case study where we're working with John, who has built an interior design company, wants to build an interior design company, and wants to be able to offer the best experience to his customers. So let's see if anyone had an interesting experience. Did asking some of these questions make you think about your own business differently? Did it help you to see how you can implement a bit of service design in your own organization, or do you have more questions that came out of it? How was your breakout discussions like?
I can speak for the group. I think the most interesting thing would be, actually, just as we were closing the breakout room, maybe someone had mentioned that the key touch point was the portfolio. And that's, I think, Jijom, and that's something that Pooja brought up in the room, that when we're thinking of the first map to the service before he launches his business, and before, when it was mentioned that what are some things that he needs to map out in the customer experience, I said he needs to have a website, and Pooja had mentioned a portfolio, but I was initially thinking that, but he's just about to launch his business, so he probably doesn't have enough to say, like, this is my portfolio of furniture designs, but I think it just hits me like that's the more reason you actually have to have a portfolio. And people who want furniture are very visual and they want to see what you have. So it's important to have a portfolio to showcase to the customer, and it does add a bit to the customer experience. And if you look at one of the places that they say is a good place to go on your first day, it's like furniture shops and interior decor shops, because customers are very visual. They just want to imagine how this will look in their homes. Another thing was that before a customer asks for a design, Akushika mentioned that usually you need to have a measurement of the place, and that could be an additional service that John can offer to say, I'm going to come and measure the space for free to come in before you buy your furniture from me, sort of.
Yeah. Okay, that was interesting. Okay, that must have been interesting. Anything else anyone wants to add about their breakout experience? Otherwise, we'll move to do a quick wrap up. Anything else? Okay, then Eugene, I think we can proceed to do a wrap up.
Okay, all right. Am I audible enough?
Yes, please.
Okay, all right. So just to recap so that we can have some key takeaways. Today we've been talking about design thinking, what it is, what it means for us as business owners, and the fact that design thinking is all about focusing on the needs of the users. We walked through the design thinking process, and then we talked about service design, and we explained what it means to think about about a service, whether it is a product or a service in itself, how to design it in such a way that at the end of the day, you are delivering exceptional customer service, exceptional service to your customers, so you can capture premium value. Now, service design is a mindset, okay? And by mindset, we mean it's a customer-centric approach, and that means that you and your team, for any conversation that you will have that has to do with a customer at the end of the day, you need to put the customer at the center. Okay, even if you are changing the kind of receipt you have, or even the setup of your reception, you need to think about the customer right at the center. Service design is also a process, okay? It's a structured, iterative process which involves research, ideation, testing, and implementation. For somebody like John, who is now trying to set up the business, it is important he does his research and understands the customers he wants to serve, their journey, and what really matters to them. And then he uses the process of ideation testing and before he implements. Service design is also a tool set. We've showed you a number of tools that you can use: the persona map, the journey map, the service blueprint, the research process. These are all tools available to you that you can use. Service design is also a cross-disciplinary mindset. That means in designing the service, don't say these people are in the security department. What do they know about customers? Or these are engineers. What do they know about customers? Or we are designing a new digital platform. Well, let's talk to the IT people. What will the sales people or even the factory people know about all of this? No. Actually, sometimes your best insight will come from the people who are not directly involved in the process, okay? Because they come in as people who potentially use it. Then service design is also a management approach. If you and your team of managers adopt a service design mindset, it makes a world of difference in the way you approach your business. All right. What service design is not is that service design is not it's not the same as customer service. No. Service design is not prepping up the reception nicely with some flowers and some nice or a few aesthetics to improve the look of your service. It is much more than that. And service design is not solely focused on recovery or fixing problems after they have occurred. No. Service design is about designing the whole service in such a way that you have truly understood how the customer moves from need to relief to satisfaction to loyalty, and you are prepared, you are ready to serve them at every point of their need. All right. So, in a nutshell, this has been an introduction to service design. We are happy to have shared with you what we think is a very simple framework, which is anytime you think of designing your business service, think of your customers' movement, think of the moments that you encounter them, the touch point, think of the memories that you want to create for them or the memories that you want them to take away. Think of the value, all right, the value that you are creating and delivering and the value that you can capture back from them. All right, so we are excited to have shared this with you today, and I hand over to Emilia to give the final words and then close up and hand it over back to Mark.
Thank you. So we wanted to wrap up by showing you this video. It's just a very short video. Eugene, I don't know if you have it. My network has been dodgy, so I don't think I can share from my end. I don't know if you are able to.
Yeah, let me see. I think I can quickly, we still have just about 3 minutes to go, so let me try and share it quickly.
Okay, so whilst we set that up, we'll see if there are any questions or if anyone wants to know a bit more about anything that we've shared today. And this video it's just an interesting video that
to have the
Jennifer, can you come again, please?
Yeah, I want to find out if it's possible to have the slide.
Yes. After this, we'll have our colleague share the slides.
Okay, all right, thank you. So that we can go through again.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, it's not showing, but
can you share the link?
Let me just.
Yes, I think we can put the link in the chat.
Okay,
and then you can watch it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, there we go.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Okay, but the
sound is what we are missing. Yeah. Okay, we can hear now.
I found them. They are the.
Do you see the full screen?
Yes, we can see. But you might have to start the video again.
Okay, so this is a video we wanted to show you about great customer service and about great service design. And
But if you're speaking, I think we lost your chance. You know.
So we couldn't fully hear the sound, and we've put a link in the chat. But basically, what it is that we have a young man and his father who are traveling. When they get to the ticketing lady, the father has written in the passport that, oh, it's his son's birthday today. So the ticketing lady sends a message to the entire airline, Brussels Airlines. And as the plane is taking off, they all come out and use a formation to basically spell out happy birthday to the young man. And it's just to show that they pay attention to the little details and they will do whatever they can to make sure that you have a great experience with them. And it summarizes what we've been trying to talk about this evening. You might not be able to do what Brussels Airlines has been able to do, but we are saying that once you understand your customer and you understand their journey, you'll be able to find opportunities to improve the service and opportunities to make sure that your service is memorable and that it has value for the customer. So we'll end here at exactly 7:30, and we'll say thank you so much for joining us, and feel free to reach out to us if we can assist further to understand service design in any way. Thank you. Over to you, Matthew.
Thank you, Emilia. Thank you, Papa, you and Emilia for a good session. I think I also learned a lot, and I believe I'm positive everyone learned something new. I don't know if Dr. Gordon is still on the line. We would probably want to hear a few words from him. Dr. Gordon? Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Matt. Yeah, thank you, Amelia and Papa. Yes, another enlightening session on a design thinking angle that I think a lot of people miss. The importance of designing experiences in ways that delight customers, right? Especially when some of these experiences, it's hard to recreate. How do you put a structure to it that allows consistency in creating and delivering it for people? So thank you so much for the session. It was very enlightening for me.
Thank you all, and thank you all for joining. We wish you a wonderful evening. Papa, I don't know if you want to say anything else.
No, thank you, everybody, and see you next month for the monthly meetup.
Right. Yeah, so just a quick announcement. So you should all look out for our next meetup, and then I'll be sharing this the recording for the session on YouTube. You should be getting the links hopefully by close of day tomorrow, so you can revisit it and then make references. Thank you all, and have a good night.